folks, so I wanted to share with you a little bit about this Berkeley Pier that you see here. It's been closed probably for about 5 years now, and this is October 2020. And I just kind of wanted to revisit this pier. You can't walk down it anymore. The city closed it. I guess they felt it was an unsafe structure. But some really interesting, points on this pier. I was here a few years ago, after they closed it, and I, climbed the fence, and I went out here and did some photography, and I'll show you some of those images later. But this pier, originally stretched out for 3.5 miles into the bay. I mean, that's over 15,000 feet. 16,500 feet almost. I mean, that's crazy. That's a lot of pier. And originally, I guess it was, built in like 1937. And this really isn't a historical video about the pier as much as it is me flying my drone out here and getting some really cool footage of this pier that you can no longer walk down anymore. And people used to be able to fish on it and, come out there and chill and look at the Golden Gate Bridge and Alcatraz and things like that. It was a really cool way to be able to walk way out into the water. Think about it. I mean, right now, well, it's, like 2.5 miles you're able to walk out there into the water. I mean, that was, that's pretty incredible. And you can't do it anymore. And so I just wanted to revisit the pier this time with my drone and fly out there and just kind of see over the last 5 years if it looks like anybody's been out there, or kind of just re-explore it, and see it from above. And, like I say, see if anybody's living out there, sleeping out there, kind of just peeking around and getting a chance to fly my drone out there. And this day was pretty windy. And I did, I flew about 100 feet in the air. I didn't want to tangle with any birds because I know a lot of birds would be living on this pier, and I didn't want to get my drone, bombed. But, so I kind of went out there with an altitude I thought that would be fairly safe. We're coming to the end of the pier here, and I'll show you a quick picture. I came out here a few years ago, and I knelt down during the blue hour, and I sat at that gate right there that you see that marks the end of the pier. And I took this photo. It was during the early morning hours of the blue hour. You can see the Golden Gate Bridge in the back. You can just see Alcatraz there with a light on out there, and the bay is nice and misty blue. But anyway, so that was, like I say, the pier's been closed about 5 years, and that was probably a year after it closed that I went and took that picture. And if you continue on, you can see the rest of the pier that extended, this 3.5 miles out into the bay, that it's all just wood, and there's sections of it broken away or maybe fallen into the bay. I'm not sure. But this is something I could never see before. You'd always walk up to the end of that pier, and that was it. You could look out and you can see, but unless you had a boat, you couldn't really go and explore this, old wooden structure that remains out there in the bay. And, at one point, I don't know if there was concrete out there or anything, like there is on the other part of the pier. But I do know that, from what I've read, this was a pier that was supposed to be a passenger ferry pier that kind of never materialized, and so it became used for freight. And then they did build, the Golden Gate Ferry Company announced its plan to build a new ferry pier for automobile service. I'm not sure what year that was, but I think it was like around 1926. And then later, the Bay Bridge opened up, and so, nobody was taking ferries across to San Francisco from Berkeley. They just drive across the Bay Bridge. But look how cool this is, man. And I didn't see many birds out there this time, which was good. I didn't want to run into any problems. But, I went this trip here on the drone. You can see more, wooden structures back there in the distance. But, I just didn't want to fly 3.5 miles out into the bay. I figured, you've seen one bit of abandoned wood pier. You've seen them all, right? So let's turn around and let me pan up here with the camera. Look at that, how far out that is. Imagine if that was open and you could walk, or you could take your car, and drive all the way out there to the ferry and catch it and run across to San Francisco. How incredible that would be, man. Think about that. You're 3.5 miles out there into the water, man. That's, I don't know how deep it is right there. But it's just really a pretty incredible feat to have built that out there in the bay. And we just kind of fly back, and this just gives you a little different perspective as I bring the camera up and you see the skyline in the back. How actually far out, that is. And that was only 5,800 feet, just a little over a mile that I flew. It continued on another 2.5 miles, I guess. But I just wasn't going to do it. It was pretty windy, and I'm not going to, fly 3.5 miles out into the bay. But there were some pretty sailboats out that morning and stuff, so it was a pretty day, and it was the first chance we had to really get out and have some decent sky after all the fires. But look here, we're coming back up on the concrete bit of it, and there's some boats out there on the side. How cool. I'm not a boat fan. I've just never been a boat fan, but here we go, fly back down the concrete part of the pier, and right here I'm probably about 2,500 feet from shore, something like that, maybe half mile. But there's the marina back there in the distance off to the left. Emeryville and Berkeley be further south. But it's just a really cool way to revisit this old pier that's been closed for about 5 years. And I don't know why they don't let the people out on there. They say it's unsafe, and I guess there's no money to fix it. And I don't think there's any plan to fix it. So I guess they're just going to maybe let it sit there and sink into the bay like the other part of it has. Who knows? Maybe, 100 years from now, somebody with, some other type of flying device is going to record this part of the pier as it's fallen down into the water. Who knows? But it seemed there'd be a better plan for it than just letting it sit there and decay. I'm not sure. I haven't really, followed up and read anything, currently on what their plan is for that. But that's a pretty long structure just to fence off and let it sit out there in the bay. So there must be some plan for it. I don't know. But anyway, thanks guys for watching. I just kind of wanted to share with you a little drone journey that I did and revisit this pier. A lot of people in the area, they used to come out on this pier and walk and fish. You didn't have to have a license to fish on that pier. I mean, it's been around for a long, long time, and a lot of people have a lot of memories out there. And even this part you're looking at here, this was built further out. Originally, that wasn't there either. That was built all the way out from, I guess it was the foot of Addison Street, 1 block south of University, according to Wikipedia. So, apparently, what you're seeing here, all this rock and this part of the marina area was originally not there. The pier extended, back beyond that. So that was kind of interesting to learn also. And here I am just going to land the drone in my cone zone. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Listening to me ramble for the last 9 minutes, and hopefully this was a cool little journey. And I appreciate sharing with you guys. Like and subscribe. And take care.